House Bill 263, sponsored by our friend and fellow chairman, Representative Ed Massey, an act relating to criminal abuse. We also have the Speaker of the House, the state of Kentucky. Glad to have you, Speaker Osborne. And for those curious, House Bill 154 will be next. I see you, Alan. You've been patiently standing there. I appreciate it. And I know Patrick is here somewhere, just outside. Chairman, you have the floor. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the committee. I'm going to be very brief. I'm Ed Massey, District 66, Boone County. We have a bill here today that basically is a few words but carries great impact. It creates a Class C felony in cases of criminal abuse for children under 12, and it makes it a Class B felony. It changes from Class C to a Class B, is what I meant to say. And we have a person to provide testimony here today that will do a wonderful job, but I'm going to defer to my colleague, the Speaker of the House, with regards to comments regarding this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. First of all, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you accommodating this on the schedule. And President Stivers, thank you for doing that. There were some misunderstandings, and I appreciate you accommodating our guest here. I'll be exceedingly brief because this is way out of my wheelhouse. I had the opportunity to meet Kira, who's next to me here, and her family a couple years ago when they were advocating for the midwifery bill. And she was on the floor the day we passed that, and she ran up afterwards and she said, I'm going to be back pretty quick with another bill. And so she called me this summer and asked me to help her with her KYA project. And she had this idea, and so again, it's completely out of my wheelhouse. So I put her in touch with Chairman Massey and our Judiciary staff, and they helped her craft this idea into a bill that became model language at KYA, and now passed the House unanimously, and fortunately finds itself before this esteemed body today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Cammie was a beautiful 9-month-old baby when her life was changed forever because the man responsible for her safety shook her so violently that she was clinically dead for 23 minutes. Cammie survived, but due to trauma, only half her brain remained. Since that day, she has been confined to a wheelchair, nonverbal, requires a feeding tube, daily seizures, has to take 12 pills a day, and may never be able to use the bathroom on her own. Last year, Cammie had to have her fake skull replaced, got sick, and almost died again. But the person responsible roams free with no legal or financial ramifications. The county attorney handed him a deal of 5 years in prison, of which he did not even serve the full time. Kentucky has the highest child abuse rates in the nation. We need change. Child abusers in the Commonwealth can still visit the child they abuse after they get out of prison, when they plead down to a lesser sentence, keeping them from registering as an abuser. In 2019, reported child abuse passed 20,000 cases. That's about 20 out of every 1,000 children. During the pandemic, these already poor numbers exploded, and there was a 50% increase in children dying from abuse or neglect while in the care of a guardian. This bill becoming law will help us address these terrible numbers by preventing the state from handing out soft deals to people who harm children under the age of 12. The important consequences of these violent actions must be a B felony and serve the time they deserve.
Thank you so much. We got a motion on the bill from Senator Turner and a second from Senator Schickel. Remember, are there any questions? The bill's pretty straightforward. Senator Neal.
Thank you for bringing this legislation. I hesitate on any enhancement statutes, but in a case like this, I see it as an exception. I just have one real question. why 12 as opposed to 13? Or what's the rationale?
We used when obviously we're preparing this bill with Judiciary staff, we looked at current laws and regulations, not only in the Commonwealth but surrounding us, and based on that research, that became the number that was customarily utilized in other pieces of legislation concerning this.
Okay.
I mean, there's obviously a discussion that goes on about what's the proper age, whether it's 14, whether it's 12, etc. We felt like in this scenario that certainly a child under the age of 12 could not defend themselves, if you will. And in this case, the real reason is when you have a Class C felony, based on the way that the statutes work, somebody could be released earlier than serving their entire sentence. And that's exactly what happened in the instant case. By making it a Class B felony, it's going to make sure that they serve 85% of their judged sentence.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.